Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Place where we talk sports and have sports debates. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe below and let's get the show started. All right. Okay, so the Olympics have been trending quite a bit lately and not for recognizing all the hard work and dedication and time that these athletes have put into their craft and their skill, but for some messy ass rules. Sorry. So, what are some things that you guys have been noticing, or what's caught your attention?
I'll pop it off real quick.
All right.
So, of course, the biggest thing that people have been talking about a lot is, of course, Sha'Carri Richardson. How she was basically banned from the Olympics for failing a drug test. But a few days into the Olympics, you got Megan Rapinoe, decorated soccer champion, gold medalist, you know what I mean, who comes about how medical marijuana, because they always put the medical in front of it when it comes to certain people. Medical marijuana has helped them through their like hardships, like in recovery and stuff like that. And people are kind of mad because the Olympics is shedding good light on this, but at the same time they shun someone else for doing the same thing. Even though one thing I explain to people is not like this is a what have you done for me lately league. Sha'Carri Richardson is fresh out of college. She understands the rules and regulations when it comes to marijuana use, as all athletes know, especially when you're in college. She made a mistake. Yes, we can't hold her mistakes over her head, but at the same time, she knew what she was doing, and she did it at one of the most pressing times of her life. So I do feel for her for what she went through because I've had my moments of weakness when I was in school and stuff like that. When I was trying to get through things, and it's always not the best way to cope. But at the same time, when you turn on the TV and you see somebody getting praised for something in a way you got shunned for, that's got to be hard to watch once again. So I feel for her once again because black female athletes never get the credit they deserve. And when she was on the way to getting that credit and all the accolades, she did one thing that can wash all that away. And though her career is not over, she still has Nike standing beside her. Her endorsement deals are there. But at the same time, this is what people are always going to remember her for when it comes to athletes in certain stages. But when Megan Rapinoe comes up and says, yeah, I use marijuana all the time to recover and it's good for mental health and da-da-da-da. When somebody who's already done something has said it, it's okay. But because Sha'Carri Richardson is not as established yet in these, I'm not going to say in the Olympics, but established as an athlete, a household athlete at that, it's not as okay for them. Even the comparisons to Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps didn't fail a drug test. Michael Phelps came out about using marijuana after he won the USA many of gold medals. But at the same time, you like I say, it's a what have you done for me lately, not even league, world. Because it's all about the good things that you've done and recently, not about what you've done in the past. I don't care if you won the college NCAA track and field championship. That doesn't matter right now. You're about to go to the Olympics. We want to see what you do there. You didn't get a chance to do that, so she has an uphill battle now. But I do feel some type of way about how they chose to shed light, good light at that, on marijuana use at the Olympics after shunning someone who probably would have won any event that she did in the Olympics. But that's just how I feel. There's a lot of other things going on right now. That's just one thing I wanted to shed light on. How about you, Bimmy?
Definitely want to shed light on how, again, another black athlete is being treated in the Olympics, and this time in swimming, where the swimmers at the Olympics had a ban on a certain type of cap because it says it does not form the shape of a head. But in all actuality, because of the hair, that African Americans or, just Africans, people of African descent, all over the world, honestly, because, there's African Italians and, African Irish and so on and so forth, and they swim. And this specific company is a UK company called the Soul Cat, and they were told that their brand of cats were going to be banned from the Olympics, and it's just not fair. These are aspects that the Olympics have to take into account, that different cultures have different styles of hair, have different everything. It's not, things are not going to fit as flat as it would, especially on my hair with how curly and how thick it can be and non-porous it could be. It's not going to necessarily form the shape of my head. If it was more relaxed and it fell down, it could be teased in different styles to form the shape of my head and put a cap on. But that little small band, because I mean, swimming doesn't have much of equipment to begin with. So when you ban that, it changes the whole dynamics of a swimmer and their stroke and every aspect of swimming. So little things like that, and to find out what you've been using to get you there is banned for the actual Olympics is really terrible, because it's like, well, if you're going to ban it, it should have been done. We should know about it. But since you did it, and now we're at the Olympics, and now you're saying you can't use that. That's a really big issue. It just shows that the Olympics is behind the times, and they need to do stuff to stay ahead of the times. They need to do stuff to make sure that one is diverse, because they're tending to every culture in the world at this point. If the Olympics are open for every country to participate in, so you have to make sure you take into account the little the details that would make things different, like the soul cap. And so now we're seeing this in the Olympics, and we're just seeing the Olympics have a blind eye. There are too many blind spots that they're not covering. You know, from this, Savon, you spoke earlier about the marijuana aspect, and the mental health aspect, then the living conditions for the athletes. We touched on different things that don't seem fair, that don't make sense, that things that only are stuck in tradition as opposed to making sense for modern times. So the Olympic Committee really has to make a stamp to say, you know what, we understand that our rules may harm a certain culture because of so and so, something that we didn't think of. We're going to stay ahead of this. We're going to go to these things. We're going to talk to these people. We're going to make sure that in the next 4 years, we're progressive, and that we're going to find stuff that doesn't necessarily change the outcome of a match, that we're not going to let people cheat. But at the same token, we're going to respect cultures. We're going to see what really makes a difference in running, or in, we really haven't even touched on the clothing that the Olympic Committee, and not even the Olympic Committee, but outside committees are essentially forcing their participants to wear. Like, sometimes they feel, oh, it's too sexist, it's too short, and that's an issue. And sometimes it's unnecessarily short, like we've seen with the Norwegian team, the Norwegian handball team. That team protested and said, we're not wearing these uniforms because they're unnecessarily cut low and sexist. For what? Like, we're playing a game. So they wore the unit. They wore spandex. We saw I think it's the German gymnastics team said these uniforms are cut excessively. Like, this is not what we came to do.
I just want to piggyback on what you're saying. It's just like I'm the youngest of 5, but I have 3 beautiful older sisters. I may have a daughter in the future, and to see how women are overly sexualized in certain things is just unsettling for me. You know what I mean? Like I said, I come from a family of mostly women, and I was raised a certain way. And to see how men can do certain things in the sport and women can't, or the forcing of how you going to force a woman to wear a bikini bottom over spandex when there's not much of a difference in either one.
There's really not. And if you see the side by side between the men's team and the women's team on the Norwegian handball team, the men's shorts can be no longer than 4 inches below the knee, but the women have to wear the bikini bottoms.
You know what I mean? And like, if you sit down and just and listen to that, like, you men have daughters, you women have daughters. These people in this community have kids, like, or people that they're loved that may want to do these sports. So how would you feel if your child was out there not feeling comfortable, feeling like these? And it's a weird world out here. You know how it is. Sadly, I have to speak on this. There are older men who watch these things and they sexualize the youth, and that's not okay. And if they don't feel comfortable doing that, there should be no back and forth with that. You can't force anybody to wear something that's not hindering their performance. If it's not making me better or making me worse, it shouldn't be.
It's not giving them an advantage. If it's not hindering them or giving them an advantage, I don't see the objection outside of it being simply like a visual thing that you happen
Yes.
to like them wearing this.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
how does it even sound? Like, if you sit back and listen to that, does that not sound okay to you? That's literally forcing somebody to wear something to appease you. And that's not okay for me, and it shouldn't be okay with anybody. I feel for these women that what they're going through. There's always an uphill battle for women, especially in sports. But you guys should always continue to fight, continue to push for what's right. Wear what you want to wear. You want to wear a hijab because it was a big thing about that with hijabs in sports in the past like 2 years. But then Nike came to the rescue. But I can't always be on Nike because sometimes they just jump on the bandwagon because that's what's popular. But for people to fight for what they want, like the people of that from that culture did, and now it's okay for them to wear in games and in sports. You guys have to continue to press, but it's also on the male athletes out there as well to help your counterparts get to where they want to be. So at the end of the day, Olympics, do better, get some culture training. Like I said, you got 4 years in between each event or bigger events that you do. So make sure you guys take this time to realize maybe your shortcomings and also the good things that you have that you may want to improve on as well. But one thing for sure, we're going to be back next week. Let us know if we need to improve on anything. Drop a comment, like, subscribe. We appreciate everything. Let us know who you think will win gold. What's your favorite event, man? We want to know. My favorite event.
You can wear whatever you want when you watch the show.
Most definitely. You can wear your pajama pants. You can be a nudist if you want to. Just enjoy what you're doing, man. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys come back, man. Thank you.